Hello and welcome to Module 6 of Dance Music Production for Beginners in Live. In this module we're going to look at adding audio effects to the tracks in your tune. We're going to start by loading up the live set that accompanies this module that you downloaded from the SonicAcademy website. In Live we can add effects to any track, whether it's audio or MIDI. The effects can be found in the Live browser, the same place as the instruments we've used to build the tune. In this module, we'll be using audio effects. We can open this folder by simply clicking on the small arrow to the left. This drops down all the audio effects that come with the program. To add an effect to a track, all we need to do is drag and drop it to the empty space to the right of your instrument. We're going to add a filter effect to our drum track. To hear clearly how the effects are changing the sound of the drums, we can solo it by clicking the solo button on the track. There are a number of different parameters in each effect which change how it's affecting the sound. In the auto filter effect, we can change the frequencies that are being filtered by clicking on the yellow ball and moving it left or right. We can also move the ball up and down to affect the resonance. We can change the type of filter we're adding to the effect in this section of the window. The first one is called a low pass filter, as it allows the lower frequencies to pass through and filters out the high ones. The next one is called a high pass filter, as it allows the high frequencies to pass through and filters out the low ones. We're now going to use the clip envelope to control the filter automatically. Firstly, we need to duplicate my full drum loop so that we have one with effects and one without. To do this, we simply click on the loop and select Duplicate from the Edit menu. We need to rename the new loop by clicking on the loop, selecting Rename from the Edit menu and typing in the new name. If we hit Shift-Tab to get to the clip overview, we can see our MIDI notes. Along the bottom left, there are 3 buttons which allow us to show or hide the launch, notes and envelope boxes. We need to make sure the envelopes button is on, as this is where we will draw in the filter automation. In the envelopes editor, we now have to select the parameter we want to automate, which in this case is the frequency on the auto filter. First, we need to select the device, which is auto filter, and second, the parameter, which is filter frequency. We can now see the filter frequency as represented by the pink line, and we have to add some hinges to the line to allow us to move it around. To create a hinge, simply double-click anywhere on the pink line and a small circle appears. We can make 2 hinges and arrange them like this. Now we've got 2 drum loops, one with effects and one without. When using effects in Live, we can save both time and processing power by using send and return functions. This allows us to send sounds from different tracks to the same effect. We can open and close the send and return tracks by clicking on the S and R buttons to the right of the master volume. We load a simple delay effect to return track A by simply dragging and dropping it onto the top of the track. Below the clip slots in each track, there is a send section with 2 controls that allow us to send the sound from that track to a return track. Now we're going to solo my Synth Stab 1 track and send the sound to the delay track so we can hear how it sounds. If we turn up the send A control, it will send that sound to return A, which will then add the effect to that sound. The position of the sound control allows us to change the amount of the synth sound we're adding to the effects track. So if we turn the control right down and gradually turn it back up, we can add more and more effect to the sound. If we look at the delay effect window, there are a number of parameters that we can change to alter the effect. The first one is dry wet control. This controls how much of the original sound and the affected sound that we hear. For example, if the control is at the dry end, then none of the sound will be affected. But if it is at the wet end, then all we hear is affected. The control next to that is the feedback control, which allows us to choose how long the delayed sound repeats after the sound passes through the effect. So the higher we turn this up, the longer the delayed sound will repeat. Now we have synth style 1 sending to the effects return. I can add as many tracks as we like to the same effect by simply turning up send A controller on the track we want to delay. So in this module we looked at adding audio effects to individual tracks and also how to use send and return functions in Live. In our next module we'll look at arranging our ideas, loops and clips.